Okay, so good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. So my name is Dan Humpherson, Head of Design at cloudThing. I just wanted to kind of talk to you about what we've been doing with Microsoft Power App portals, and specifically looking at making Power App portals consistent with other Gov UK services. So first of all, just a little bit about myself, where I come from, what I do. So as I said, kind of head of design at cloudThing, predominantly a user experience designer for about the last 15 years or so. And I've kind of been with cloudThing since it was established. Run a team of multidisciplinary designers. So that's everything from user experience design, graphic design, user interface design. And many of us within the team are also kind of well versed in front-end development as well, which gives us kind of unique kind of insights into building websites, web applications, mobile applications and such. A little bit here just around the kind of projects that we've worked on as a team. Obviously some logos of companies that I'm sure you'll have heard of on the left and right hand side of the slides. But you know, we've been working in kind of government, finance, non-profits, education, membership organizations for a number of years. And we've also obviously over the last kind of 3 to 5 years been working pretty hard in the Power Platform Dynamics 365 space as well. So that's a bit about me, but what we're actually kind of here to kind of talk about is obviously Microsoft Power App portals. We're going to touch on a few areas here. So, you know, how do we make Power App portals consistent with Gov UK services? What kind of customization options are available to you? We'll touch on accessibility as well, kind of really kind of key point when it comes to delivering public sector services. And then I also want to kind of pull in and show you a demo of a Power App portal that we've built in line with the Gov UK design system. So quickly, just a bit about kind of my Microsoft Power App portals. So, you know, what are they? What do they do? So essentially, Power App portals are a website. So they're a place where you can publish content. They're available or can be made available to anyone, both inside or outside your organization. And one of the kind of key benefits here is that Power App portals kind of integrate really tightly with not only the Power Platform as a whole, but also Microsoft Dataverse. So all of your data that drives your portal can be stored and secured in the same way that any other data within the Power Platform would be secured. Power App portals, as I said, kind of integrate with the Power Platform as a whole. One of the key things for Gov UK portals is obviously being able to build out and design your forms, your views, charts, dashboards, all in a kind of familiar environment. So if you're used to working with Dynamics 365 or model-driven apps, and you've built forms and views for model-driven apps, that means you can also build forms and views for Power App portals. Out of the box, they're kind of responsive and brand aware. They can be themed and styled to match your branding, and that's kind of key for us when it comes to targeting a kind of consistent look and feel for Gov UK services. Available also as both anonymous access, so we can publish content to citizens, members of the public, but also authenticated access as well, kind of full identity management. One of those providers being Azure Active Directory B2C or Azure B2C. Some of you might know it. We can also make use of other authentication providers, whether that be something like your Facebook account, LinkedIn account, your Google account, or any number of other kind of authentication providers that you might already have in place. And I've already kind of mentioned this, you know, Power App portals integrate with the other services that are available as part of the Power Platform. So things like Power BI, Power Automate, bringing all of your data into a kind of central area. Power BI, Power Automate, so we can trigger Power Automate from the Power Platform via Power App portals, and we can also drop in things like Power BI dashboards and use that data intelligence to pull in a richer data set into those portals. So as I mentioned, want to kind of talk about, you know, making Power App portals consistent with Gov UK services. So it's much more than just branding your portal or your website. What we're trying to do is make it consistent with other Gov UK services. So part of that is making your portal or website look like any other Gov UK service. So it's kind of a seamless transition from any kind of Gov UK domain to your Power App portal, to your service. The other thing is that obviously we're able to integrate and include the Gov UK front-end framework. So the HTML, the CSS, the JavaScript that we use to render the pages within the portal are based on and come directly from the Gov front-end framework. And that also means that we're able to follow the specific patterns and practices laid out as part of the Gov UK or GDS design system, Government Design Service design system. So it's a lot more about kind of making sure that the markup that we use, the specific ways in which we design content for the page, the way pages are laid out, all follow the guidance that's stipulated as part of the design system. It's all based on research, and therefore, you know, it's good practice. We're also able to extend the way that front-end framework and the design system are used in Power App portals. And we've done some work to kind of create some libraries and some additional styles on top of the design system to make it a little bit easier to manage the way that those styles are applied and used, both with markup that's generated by Power App portals and the custom markup, the custom HTML that we use to build out our portals. Talking about customization, so we're looking at kind of an enriched experience. So we've got things like a form designer built in. So I've already kind of talked about that, you know, if you're building model-driven apps right now, or you've seen how model-driven apps can be built with a kind of drag and drop interface for designing forms, that's also available and part of Power App portals. That's how you'll kind of bring your forms to life in Power App portals. Because it's a content management platform, because it's, you know, it's very similar to a content management system, CMS, we can build out reusable templates and pages. So that means kind of common components that are used throughout the portal can be managed centrally as kind of one item. So we can create a reusable navigation, a reusable footer, header, but also reusable templates to manage things like layout, to make management of content and pages within the portal easier. All of the modules and features that are available within Power App portals are available to be kind of customized or capable of being customized. So that means, you know, we can use the out-of-the-box rendering of a table of data as an example, or we can override that to kind of further enhance the way in which that rendering of table data is presented to users, whether that be things like kind of column sorting, searching, pagination, that kind of thing. And we can also use the Power Platform, the Power Portal platform, as a means to further extend and build on top of what's available in the Gov front-end framework. Obviously, it is a framework, and it does contain a wide range of components, but there are always times whereby we need to kind of combine and create new components to suit users' needs, and therefore Power Portals gives us the opportunity to do that, again by being able to edit the templates, edit the rendering of various components, and apply Gov front end and design system principles to those new components. There's also kind of multiple applications for the Power Platform and Power Portals. So whether that be things like case management, incident management, freedom of information requests, citizen portals, managing their contact preferences, their own details, being able to update key and important information that you hold as a government department within something like Dataverse, and actually manage and consume the data for themselves. As well as being able to kind of build out Power App portals for internal departments, as well as external users, citizens, and members of the public. Last slide here, just before we kind of move on to a demo. So I just wanted to touch on accessibility. So as I'm sure you're all kind of probably aware, all kind of public sector bodies, that includes any kind of government departments, are subject to the Public Sector Bodies Accessibility Regulations 2018. So there's a legal responsibility to make sure and ensure that the services that you provide as a minimum meet the web content accessibility guidelines up to a level of AA. Now, Power App portals are accessible from the start, so you're already building on a foundation that has got accessibility built in, so it's inclusive from the start. But obviously, because we're dealing with a content management system, essentially, we obviously need to be able to kind of maintain and have enough access to the markup and the rendered content to further enhance the markup that drives that content, to ensure that everything that we build can be accessed and is accessible to everybody. It works with assistive technology, so it's compatible with a range of screen readers, not just a specific screen reader. Users of speech recognition technology and screen magnifiers can all use that technology to assist in their use of your portal, your website. Because we're building on top of the Gov UK front-end framework and using all of the guidance that's supplied as part of the design system, we know that achieving a AA level of accessibility against the guidelines is possible. We've done it. We're in the process of doing that with other government departments. But obviously, what's key to that is not just relying on producing markup that is accessible and testing that. It's also making sure that, as part of our design process and our research process, that we're talking to users that are, disabled users, that we're running user testing with those people. And we're also making sure that all of the work that we do around accessibility is also audited and checked by experts in that industry to make sure that we are meeting that AA level. But we're also making sure that whatever we do is usable and accessible to everyone, not just kind of meeting the level, but trying to exceed that as well. So I'd like to kind of move on to a demo. So this is a demo that we've prepared. Let me just drag in another window for you. We'll make it big. So this is a Power App portal. So hopefully it looks familiar to you in that it looks like any other Gov UK service you might have seen or had to use in your own kind of daily life. What we've got here is a cookie banner at the top. We've got our navigation and our banner, Gov UK, cloudThing GDS portal, our phase banner. So all these are kind of elements that are part of the design system, all integrated into the portal. And we've got a very kind of basic start page here, and then our footer with things like links to accessibility statement, cookies, privacy, that kind of thing. So use of cookies. So this is an example here of where we have extended the functionality available in Power App portals. So Power App portals out of the box, there is no cookie banner. But what we've done is we're able to extend the components that are available to you. So we've got our kind of cookie banner here, explains what the cookie banner is for, and we can then link through to something like a cookie policy here. So this is just a very kind of rough example of the type of content that you might have in your cookie policy, and then of course people can then hide that cookie banner and accept the cookies. We've done further kind of work on this where we can actually allow users to pick and choose the specific cookies that they would like to allow and disallow and ignore others. I guess it's worth pointing out that there are a number of cookies that can part of Power Apps portal and need to be included. So let's just go back to the home page. So our cookie banner has now disappeared. We've accepted those cookies, so it's no longer displayed to users. And again, we can configure how long that cookie banner shows and hides for. So I mentioned Azure B2C as the identity provider for Power App portals, or one of the identity providers. So if I just click sign in here, what we've actually been done is redirected to an Azure B2C sign in page. So we've got here sign in, email address and password. We've also got the ability to register or create some sign in details for this service. And we've also got self-service kind of password reset. So users can come to here if they've forgotten their email address or password. We're able to self-serve those users, and they can request password resets, new email address, that kind of thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to log on here. Hopefully get my password right first time. So here we go, email address and password, click sign in. And what that then does is Azure B2C checks my identity, checks who I am, who I say I am, and redirects me back to the Power App portal, whereby I'm now logged into a dashboard view. So again, this is just a demo just to show you some examples of the kinds of ways in which we can present information in portals. So we've got a manage payment screen here with a number of payments that have been made previously. What I'm going to do first of all is just add a new payment. So pretty common in a lot of Gov UK services is obviously forms collecting data from users. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to record a new payment. So first of all, I start off with a new person record. Talked about how we've kind of integrated the design system into Power App portals. So again, these form elements should look familiar to them if you've seen the design system. If we've renewed your passport, if you've applied for a driving license, renewed your tax disc, this is the kind of presentation that you will be familiar with. We've got validation here as well, so I can select a title. If I try and proceed, click continue, we can see that the validation then appears. So again, this is kind of common in Gov UK services. It's a common pattern. That's why we've got it here. And again, these links that appear in the there is a problem message box here, we can click on those, and that will then take us down into our missing fields, required fields. So I'll just fill in some details here. So we've got John Smith, imaginatively named. Click on continue. What we've got here is a flow of forms, a number of steps that we've created. Common again as part of the design system patterns and practices is that you'll have, you know, maybe one or maybe two questions per form step. So here I'm just going to collect some payment details. So they've paid us £200. What date did we receive that payment? Again, those of you familiar with maybe Dynamics or Dataverse, usually dates are captured as a single field, as a kind of date time string, but obviously GDS stipulates that when you're asking people to enter a date, you present day, month, year as three separate inputs. And that's what we've got here. So we've kind of enhanced what would normally be available within a Power App portal by sticking to and applying the Gov UK principles. Again, we're able to customize the way Power App portals work. So we can kind of enhance GDS and build on GDS. So here we've got a date picker. So again, we've got a way of extending the functionality that's available inside the design system and incorporating that within the Power App portal. Again, where it's relevant, again, based on user research and testing, is this appropriate use of a date picker? If we were asking for date of birth, as an example, we might not present a date picker. We might just present the three input fields as text inputs on their own. But again, this is a date picker. It's keyboard accessible. It's readable by screen readers. So things like, you know, moving your cursor keys up and down, left and right. We can progress through dates in a month. We can progress next through, you know, into the following month. We can use enter to then pick a specific date in that month, all announced and read out by screen readers as well. Clicking on continue takes us to a check your answers page. So again, it's another pattern as part of GDS that we were able to integrate. This is the check your answers pattern. Gives people a summary of the data that they have entered and gives them the opportunity to then go back and change their details. So we can go back and we can change John. So instead of John, let's rename Jonathan. There we go. Click continue. Take us back through to the check answers page. Skips out that kind of payment details step because we only wanted to change the name of the person we're recording the payment. Name's been updated. We can save that payment. And again, common pattern here. We've got a confirmation screen that confirms that that payment has been saved and gives us a summary of the information that we entered as part of that summary, with a call to action to go back to the dashboard. You can see that record has now been created. So Mr. Jonathan Smith has been recorded. And again, just kind of drawing attention here to some of the kind of smaller details. What we've got here is obviously a currency input here, currency information formatted as the currency that it was entered as. Just to show you some of the power of the formatting and data management options within Power App portals. Again, we've got two dates here. They've been deliberately presented in two different ways. We've got the kind of date format as day, month, year, or we could present that data as 7 May 2021 with a time associated with it as well. So that's us, 7th of May, just a couple of minutes ago creating that record on the Power App portal. And of course, that data is now stored in Dataverse. So that means that any other Power App that you build or any other service that you connect to the Power Platform can also access this data if you need it to. So we could also build a companion model-driven app that will allow you to access this data, add additional data to it, modify this data as per your needs. Let's click on a record here. So we've got Miss Claire Smith. This is a payment record that we created earlier. So Miss Claire Smith, we've got her address details. Again, these address details are being pulled from her contact record in Dataverse. So we've got a contact entity. We've got some address details, some phone number, email address. They're all being pulled from the Dataverse. Additionally, what we've provided in the portal is the ability for the payment detail, the payment amount, and the date received to be modified and updated in the portal. So, you know, it wasn't the 14th, it was the 12th. Let's save those changes. And again, we get a similar confirmation of the change that we've made. Payment amount has been updated. Date payment received has been updated to the 12th of May. We'll go back to the dashboard. And instead of showing today's date, Miss Claire Smith, 134, 12th of the 5th, 2021. So I hope that gives you some kind of flavor for what's possible within Power App portals, specifically with GovUK services in mind. And I think the demo gives you a kind of clear idea of what's possible, not just from a look and feel, but also in terms of following the patterns and practices that are outlined as part of the GDS design system. And hopefully you feel that the Power App portal looks just like any other GovUK service that you've seen, and can see the power of using Power App portals. So thank you for your time, everybody. As usual, if you have questions, please feel free to get in contact with myself or via anybody at cloudThing. Thank you.